Okay, so get this. We're diving into alien encounters today, but hold on. We're not talking your run-of-the-mill UFO sightings. This is about looking at these stories in a whole new way. With this framework, it's seriously next-level stuff. Makes
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes look like an amateur.
Exactly. We're talking about AN, the Advanced ET Narrative Analysis Framework. Think of it like bringing out the big guns, scientifically speaking, to a mystery that's been bugging humanity forever.
See, now this is what I'm talking about. A good mystery.
Okay.
But AETNAF, that's a mouthful. It sounds intense. We're talking algorithms and equations here.
Well, there's some serious analysis going on. Even AI gets in on the action. But it's way more than that. Picture this. Anthropologists digging into cultural beliefs, neuroscientists poking around brain activity during these experiences, even, get this, musicologists analyzing the sounds people say are from UFOs.
Whoa, hold up, musicologists. Now that's a curveball. What are they listening for? Alien opera.
Let's go. Not quite. Think about it. Music, it gets those emotions going, right? Often reflects a culture's deepest beliefs. So someone says they recorded sounds from a UFO. Analyzing those sounds, musically speaking, it could reveal hidden patterns, even emotional vibes. It's like searching for clues in the most unexpected places.
Okay, we are officially down the rabbit hole here, and I haven't even had my coffee yet. So if ATNAF is using all these different fields, where do we even begin? It's like a scientific buffet.
I like that, a scientific buffet. And you're right, these narratives, they're complex. ATNAF gets that, so it approaches them from all sides. Think of it as a toolkit, each tool designed to examine a different part of the encounter.
Okay, I can work with the toolkit analogy. So what tools are we talking about here?
Well, one of the big ones is linguistic and thematic analysis. Like when you're reading a book and you see certain words or themes popping up again and again.
Yeah, you start to think the author's trying to tell you something.
Exactly. 18F does this with alien encounter stories, but on a way larger scale. It uses AI to go through thousands of narratives, looking for those recurring patterns.
So it's like using AI to read between the lines.
Mhm.
Are there common threads in how people talk about these encounters, even if their stories are totally different?
You got it. Like, one thing 18F found is that the word peace comes up a lot in abduction stories, surprisingly often. And it doesn't matter the person's background or culture. That's a big deal.
Wow, yeah, it seems like it would be the opposite. You'd be terrified.
Right. But it suggests there's this universal human need for reassurance when faced with the unknown, even if that unknown is scary as heck.
That's giving me chills.
Yeah.
Okay, what other tools are in this AT&F toolkit?
Another important one is psychological analysis. Because, let's be real, how reliable is memory, especially with something as wild as an alien encounter?
Yeah, I mean, I can barely remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
Right. Our brains are incredible, don't get me wrong, but they also have these biases. They try to fill in the gaps, even when there aren't any.
So you're saying our brains could be playing tricks on us?
Not necessarily tricks, but our perceptions, they're shaped by our beliefs, expectations, our culture even. Two people could see the exact same thing, but their brains might interpret it in totally different ways based on their own, like, internal wiring.
Okay, starting to see how this gets complicated. It's not just about what's out there, but how our own minds are making sense of it all.
Exactly. And that's where neuroscience comes in. 18F wants to get into how these encounters, real or imagined, might actually affect the brain. Remember us talking about neuroplasticity earlier? It basically means our brains can physically change based on our experiences.
So you're saying, like, even thinking about an alien, your brain could be changing.
It's a possibility. Our brains are amazing, but sometimes they have trouble telling the difference between a super vivid dream and reality.
Okay, now we're getting into some seriously deep waters here, and we've only just started. Okay, gotta say, need a minute to process all this. It's like we're not just talking aliens anymore. We're talking about, like, what's real, how we experience the world, the whole shebang.
You're getting it. That's why 18F, it emphasizes something called first principles. Think of them like guiding stars, helping researchers navigate this whole crazy landscape.
First principles. Okay.
Yeah.
So not just the tools in the toolkit, but the instruction manual too. Hit me with it. What's the first one we need to understand?
One of the most basic is that narratives are cultural artifacts, meaning these stories, they don't just pop out of nowhere. They're shaped by people's beliefs, their anxieties, even the pop culture of the time.
So like an alien encounter story from, I don't know, the 50s, it'd be full of Cold War paranoia. But today it's all government conspiracies and fancy tech.
Exactly. And TNF even has a saying for it. Stories reflect the world that tells them. It's like holding up a mirror to a culture, seeing what's freaking them out, what they're fascinated by.
Okay, that's kind of creepy, but also super cool. Makes you think, are we really seeing something cruelly alien or just like projecting our own baggage onto the unknown?
$1 million question, right? And that takes us to another first principle. Reality is subjective.
All right, that one seems pretty self-explanatory. We all see the world through our own lenses, don't we?
Sure, but it goes deeper. Our brains, they're always filtering stuff out, looking for patterns, trying to make sense of things based on what we already know, what we believe.
For two people, they could see the same thing, a light in the sky maybe. One's yelling UFO, the other saying weather balloon, just like that.
Right. AETNAF calls it perception shapes reality. Basically, we're not just sitting back watching the world go by. We're active participants in creating our own realities.
Wow, okay. I can see how that could lead to some wild interpretations, especially with something as mind-boggling as alien contact.
And that's where the toolkit is super useful. By using things like psychological analysis, looking at the cultural context, AETNAF tries to separate out the subjective experience from any objective reality that might be there.
It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, but half the pieces are missing, and the ones you do have, they might be from different puzzles entirely.
Laughs. Now that is a perfect analogy. And just to make it even more challenging, AETNAF wants us to think about this. Consciousness is multifaceted.
Okay, break that one down for me. What's that mean, like, in this context?
We tend to think of consciousness as one thing, right? But what if there are different ways of being aware, different ways of experiencing reality? Some encounters, maybe they're happening in altered states of consciousness.
All right, now we're talking. You're talking trances, visions, maybe even like hallucinations.
Think about how intense those emotions are that people describe: the awe, the fear, this feeling of deep connection. What if those emotions are triggering different parts of the brain, opening us up to experiences that we can't normally access?
Like those super vivid dreams that feel more real than real life. Could that be what's going on here?
It's a definite possibility. The maxim for this one is there are many ways to see. And that doesn't just mean our eyes, but different levels of awareness we might be able to tap into.
This is blowing my mind, seriously.
Right.
We went from words on a page to the depths of human consciousness. Where do we even go from here?
Well, once you start questioning consciousness, reality, it's tough to stop. And that's where the conjectures come in. They're like bold ideas, possible explanations for this whole ET thing, really pushing the boundaries of what we think we know.
Okay, I am so in. Give me those conjectures. What crazy possibilities is AETNAF putting forward? Hit me with those conjectures. What kind of mind-blowing possibilities is AETNAF putting on the table?
So one that really gets people thinking is the consciousness interaction hypothesis.
Okay, that one sounds like we're going full X-Files here.
Yeah.
Explain, please.
Okay, imagine this. What if these encounters, they're not just about physical beings, flying around in spaceships, but about something way different, some kind of link up between human consciousness and, well, something we just don't get yet.
Okay, for those of us who didn't ace Psych 101, what are we talking about here? Like a universal mind or maybe some kind of psychic connection thing?
You got it. It's a big idea, for sure. What if our minds, they're not just separate things, but part of something bigger, a web of consciousness? And maybe certain experiences, whether it's intense emotions, altered states, or even something we haven't discovered, it lets us tap into that web, connect with something totally outside our normal reality.
Whoa, okay. That's a lot to take in. So instead of aliens and spaceships, it's more like we're tuning into some cosmic radio station, picking up signals from other dimensions or even like other intelligences out there in the universe.
That's the idea. It's a mind-blowing concept, challenging everything we think about reality, consciousness, the whole deal. It's like the ultimate mystery wrapped in another mystery.
No kidding. But if it's so mysterious, how can we even begin to study it? Are we talking about bringing out the psychic mediums and Ouija boards?
Not quite. Remember, AETNAF, it's all about combining different approaches. We might not be able to, measure a psychic connection directly, but we can look for clues, right? Check out brain activities, psychological profiles, even the cultural beliefs of the people who report these encounters.
So it's like trying to study a dream. You can't exactly step inside the dream itself, but you can analyze the brain waves, the emotions, the symbols that come out of that subconscious state.
Perfect analogy. And just like with dream analysis, AETNAF suggests that even if these encounters come from our own minds, what they contain, those experiences, might still tell us something really profound about human consciousness, our place in the universe, the whole shebang.
Okay, and starting to see the bigger picture here. We've got the tools, the principles, and now these conjectures, they're like launching pads for exploring those really big questions about reality, consciousness, the possibility of something truly other out there.
You got it. And that's what makes AETNAF so exciting. It's not about saying this is the answer. It's about opening up new ways of looking at things, pushing those boundaries of what we thought was possible.
So where does all of this leave us? What do you hope listeners will take away from this deep dive into AETNAF?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. There's a new way to look at these ET narratives, a way that moves past just believing or debunking. AETNAF asks us to approach these experiences with curiosity and open mind, to explore them from all angles, using the best tools science has to offer.
And it's not just about proving or disproving UFOs, right? It's about what these stories tell us about ourselves, about our minds, how we perceive things, and that constant human fascination with the unknown.
Absolutely. When you get down to it, AETNAF is a testament to the power of human curiosity, our drive to understand ourselves and the universe we live in.
It really makes you realize that even if we never definitively find proof of extraterrestrial life, just the act of searching, of wrestling with these mind-blowing possibilities, it can expand our understanding of what it means to be human.
And who knows, maybe while we're trying to figure out the mysteries of alien encounters, we'll unlock even bigger secrets about what reality really is, about the infinite potential of our own minds.
Now that's a thought-provoking note to end on. I think I need to walk after this one. My brain's officially in orbit. Thanks for taking us on this incredible deep dive. Until next time, keep looking up, keep asking those big questions, because you never know what amazing discoveries might be right around the corner.